Hey, I'm Rhiannon, or Nonny. Yep, that's me. And just like most of us, I try to be good. I'm a feminist, I work for an environmental charity, and I try to look after myself. But I have a few bad habits. So every month I'm taking on a new challenge to try and be a bit better for the planet, other people, and myself. Welcome to the Resolution Project. So today we're talking about how I swapped my smartphone for a very cool flip phone. It's always something that I've kind of fantasized about doing, just giving it all up for the simpler life. But for one reason or another, I never got around to it. And then this January, my phone, my smartphone nearly exploded, or I at least saw smoke coming out of the side of it. So I thought, now it's time for a new phone, I think. I ended up buying like a refurbished iPhone, and then luckily there was actually something wrong with the iPhone, so I decided, you know what, let's stop messing around. I'm getting myself a super cool flip phone. I don't even care anymore. It feels like your entire life is on one of these little devices, which is exactly how these brands have made them to be. They've made them to be addictive, and we all know it. You know, we spend hours and hours of every day on these things. When we're walking along, when we're on the train, when we're with our friends and loved ones, always constantly checking, seeing if there's an update, which there's never anything that interesting happening. So I decided to break free. It was a really difficult decision to make just because I didn't know if I'd sort of be losing all of my friends. When it came to the day I was actually shutting down my iPhone, I felt sick. I felt physically sick. I felt like I was giving away an entire part of myself. And that feeling made me know that I was doing exactly the right thing. We're currently in lockdown of the coronavirus pandemic right now, if you're watching this in the future. So I'm not really going out and about, and it's not so relevant for the moment. But I had a couple of months this year, January and February, of free movement, where I got used to life without a smartphone. So today I'm just going to talk about the main ways that not having a smartphone has actually affected my life. The first thing is getting around. Obviously use my phone a lot for Google Maps or Apple Maps to check tube routes, bus times, that sort of thing. And that's not been too difficult. I just have to do a little bit more planning around it, writing down different bus times and bus numbers, because there are so many buses in London that those are kind of the most difficult ones to navigate your way around. But you can pretty much do it even without planning. You can kind of look on the maps at the bus stops and that sort of thing, but it definitely slows it down and makes it a little bit more of an adventure. Also, with getting around London, I've found one of these to be very useful. It's the old A to Z map, so I can literally look up wherever I am in London and find where I need to go. And here is actually a post-it note. So I wrote down my bus stop number, what the stop name was, and where I need to get off. So yeah, this has been very, very handy. I also travel quite a lot outside of London for work, so that's a little bit more tricky because I can't have a whole map of the UK in my pocket. So what I do is the old-fashioned printing off maps at work. So I print off the map, sort of draw on the map where I need to go and where the train station is, and then I just follow that, and I write down in my diary the times of the trains and like the different train time options. Yeah, so it's administrative process. It isn't as simple as opening your phone, seeing what's there, and letting it take you there. But I don't mind that so much. It's just a bit more of an adventure. It's not something that I've been like, oh, I really wish I had that now. Or sometimes when I've been lucky enough to have other people there with me that obviously have a smartphone, so that makes life a little easier. And then there's Uber. I used to use Uber quite a lot. It's quite embarrassing really, since I work for an environmental charity, the amount I used to use Uber, kind of on nights out and things like that, when I easily could have got the bus or a train in kind of similar time, but on the night out it just feels like you're in a bit of a rush, so you'll get there like 15 minutes earlier in a taxi. I grew up in the countryside, and there you have to wait like half an hour for a bus, or maybe more. But in London we're just so privileged to have kind of buses coming every 5 to 10 minutes or less, but you get to the point where you don't even want to wait 15 minutes for a bus because that feels like ages. And you know, Uber's just made it far too easy to just click a button and you're on your journey pretty much straight away. I'm going to work out how much money I actually spent on Ubers last year. I think it'll be a shocking amount, but that'll be a really great thing to know so that I know how much I will be saving by not getting Ubers all the time. So yeah, long of the short of it, I can't get Ubers at the moment because I have no smartphone when I'm out and about. So sometimes when I'm with friends, they'll do it if they fancy it. But it just means it's a little bit more difficult for me, which is a great thing because we're saving the environment, and we're saving lots and lots of money. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about communicating with other people. I mean, that is what the phone was invented for, before all of these apps and everything took over and it became about so much more. Communicating with others felt like one of the biggest things that I was going to lose when giving up the smartphone. I was just worried that not being on these apps all the time would mean that I'd lose touch with people and I wouldn't know what was going on. I do have my iPad, so when I'm at home I use that. At work I have my computer. It does often feel like I'm going from computer to computer, which kind of makes it easier when talking to people on Messenger and stuff. But in terms of using my new telephone, it's got one of these keypads, so it has just become almost impossible to text. I mean, obviously it is possible, but it's so fiddly, it takes ages, it makes me lazy. Nothing ends up being spelt properly because I'm just like shoving it out and it just autocorrects to random words. I've been trying to bring the phone call back because of this, but almost to no avail because my house basically has no phone signal, but it is quite useful for when I'm out and about. Instead of texting, I'll just pick up the phone and call whoever it is I want to talk to, and that's quite nice. It makes you feel a little bit more connected and you can hear somebody's voice. So I pretty much rarely use my phone anymore, especially now we're locked in the house. Like, I mean, I'm not physically locked in the house, don't worry, you don't have to come send people for me. I can leave the house if I want, but yeah. Now that we're on lockdown, I'm hardly ever with my phone. There's just really no point, and nobody texts or calls me. So yeah, give me a call if you want to chat because no one's calling. So I use my iPad mainly to communicate with people now. So it's only when I'm out and about that I can't really do that. So my iPad has all the same apps as my phone did, except for WhatsApp. So that's been a bigger change because everybody seems to be on WhatsApp these days, and I have a big work group chat that I just miss out on, which means that I sometimes do miss information, which is, yeah, a little bit tricky, but mainly I'm quite glad not to have, you know, lots and lots of people trying to get in touch with me all the time. I can always kind of check my emails or go on Messenger or the different sort of websites instead if I want to talk to people. So yeah, it's okay. It's not ruined my communication with others in the slightest. Like, I still talk to everyone I talked to before, so it's fine. One app that I really didn't want to give up was Spotify. I really enjoy kind of going on my commutes and listening to a podcast or listening to music. My iPad really has been a godsend for that sort of thing. The only thing is that because of the temptation of podcasts and music, I find that I bring my iPad out with me quite a lot more, which puts it in a bit more danger of getting broken. And I feel like I'm more likely to get mugged of an iPad if I'm pulling it in and out of my bag, and it's not exactly a cheap device. So yeah, I probably need to get that insured actually. And it's been quite nice actually not to listen to music and not to listen to podcasts and sort of just be constantly, when you're moving around and you're on the train and things, you kind of go into your own little zone, which is nice and it's an escape, but I think sometimes it's nice to just experience the world. Mainly it's people just looking at their own phones and being really, really boring. Yes, let's talk money. I will be saving a lot of money from not having a smartphone. So my contract before was £20 a month, and that's actually fairly cheap for a phone contract. But my current one is £6 a month. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So that actually means that I'm going to be paying £72 a year, when before I was paying £240 a year. That's £168 saved. Not complaining. I think kind of the last thing that not having a smartphone has really affected is my ability to just be in the moment. I've noticed that on nights out or hanging out with friends, I don't have a phone to check. Like, nobody's texting and calling me. I have no internet. I do have Snake on my phone, but I'm not really going to be sitting there playing Snake in front of them unless they're really, really boring. So yeah, I'm not just constantly checking Instagram, not constantly texting people, which allows me to just be in the moment and spend time with my friends and not even think about communicating outside of that, which is really nice, unless they're constantly checking their phones, in which case I will sit there very, very patiently. And likewise, as I said before, just on the train and travelling, if I don't have my iPad with me and I'm not distracted by music or podcasts, then again I could just sort of be present in the moment, which has just been really nice. It just sort of clears your mind and allows you to have other thoughts and think about your day ahead and think about what happened yesterday, whatever it was. So yeah, it's really, really nice. So that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions. Also let me know if you're considering doing this. Everybody I've spoken to has been like, wow, you're crazy, or wow, that is great, but I couldn't do it. I don't believe that. I think that if this is something that you've been thinking about doing for a while, or you get kind of tempted to do, just go for it. Dude, I'll be your phone buddy. Let's bring the phone call back. Let's feel a little bit more connected and a little bit less addicted to our phones. But hey, no judgment if you want to hold on to the smartphone, because it's a pretty useful device. To be fair, maybe I should get one. Oh, by the way, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment wherever you want, and yeah, chat to you soon.